Welcome to Friday's edition for this weekly news roundup for the gaming industry. Sasquatch Senpai here once again. So let's go ahead and dive on into it. Bethesda has released a surprise Starfield Anime short series. So far, they have released 3 short animated videos on their Bethesda Softworks YouTube channel. They're all part of the Settled Systems series. These shorts show off various different locations, some famous individuals, as well as some stuff that you can get yourself into. From working with large companies, or large corporations, intergalactic corporations, and the seedier side of things, to joining the military and rising to fame through your dogfighting skills. One short did get players and fans excited though because it depicted mechs fighting, despite Todd Howard having stated before that there are no ground vehicles in Starfield, and that could just be a currently thing. Maybe this is a hint that that is up to change with future expansions or DLC for the title, but mech suits will always be a welcome addition to any sort of game. All of these videos are just anywhere from about 2 minutes to 3 minutes, so they're definitely on the short side, but they do provide a bit of information, and they are, very stylized and were a fun little watch over that about 9-minute period. Microsoft has also expanded its payment options available to users, surprisingly. Microsoft and PayPal have announced that users will now be able to use Venmo to make very specific purchases through Microsoft. The option will be available for subscription services and within the Microsoft Store itself. PayPal has also announced that the option PayPal Pay Later will be coming soon and available in the Australia, France, Germany, Italy, Spain, UK, and US markets. This will be available for larger purchases, obviously, perhaps such consoles or peripherals that are more expensive, giving you a period of time to pay overtime for those purchases. Quote here was with this as well, coming from Microsoft Vice President of Global, Ajit Ekadath? I totally slaughtered that name. At Microsoft, our commitment to creating the best experience for customers is at the center of everything we do, whether it's for entertainment or productivity. The addition of new PayPal payment method option delivers on this commitment and offers even more flexibility for customers with tools that work for them and their goals. So, more ways to pay for your products is always a welcome thing, as long as it's, well monitored. Very interesting for Venmo being an option, though. Venmo is typically a peer-to-peer money sending solution, but they have seen an uptick in availability for making purchases and business transactions. This just seems like another step they are taking into that kind of sphere. Owlcat Games has had to pull a controversial patch inclusion after fan backlash, and it was definitely some backlash. Owlcat Games recently pushed a patch for Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous that did not go over well. It included an analytics gathering tool and a new EULA that was forced on every owner and player of the game. Anyone who declined the new EULA no longer had access to their digital purchase, which is another thing entirely involving digital libraries and ownership and licensing and access. There was no option for anyone to opt out of this update, whether they wanted to or not. Hence, people who declined it no longer had access. The app in question itself was App Flyer. It's a tool used to gather information such as the IP address, timestamp of when you launched the game the first time, platform it was launched on, the version of the game you are running, and your OS. It then used that data to create a fingerprint of sorts that it would then match against data provided by advertisers, giving Owlcat a rough idea of how many people bought the game after seeing an ad for it online. Keep in mind, this game is 2 years old, and this was implemented 2 years after it was initially released. A slew of negative recent reviews on Steam dropped it down to negative. Various posts on official forums, and specifically on Reddit, pushed Owlcat into an emergency meeting just 24 hours after they updated the game, and then they removed the app Flyer. Owlcat even stated that they were then going to delete data that was already gathered by those who accepted the EULA. So, just gotta get in there, make demands, and they'll come true. This is always great seeing like this. It wouldn't have been an issue if you could decline that and have the information not gathered, but that wasn't the case here. You were forced in having your information harvested. Or, in the end, how other advertisers would then have access to sell you products. Moving on to a different CRPG series, Larian Studios says that Divinity 3 will happen, just not yet. So, if you're a fan of the Divinity series, I know that I myself am one, rejoice! Larian Studios has promised that Divinity 3 will eventually happen. When is just in the future, though. Studio head Sven Vink, in an interview with IGN, stated that it is our own universe we built, so we're definitely going to go back there at some point. We will get back there at some point. We'll first finish this one, Baldur's Gate 3 now, and then take a break because we will need to refresh ourselves creatively also. You're seeing 400 developers putting their heart and souls into this. You're getting the best of them and their craft into this game, and so I can't tell you, it's quite a thing. So, in a few years, it seemed, after a well-deserved summer break, and time to reflect on their time with BG3, continued support, updates, perhaps DLC and stuff like that, as well as some preliminary planning for Divinity Original Sin 3, we'll eventually get some new information on Divinity 3 outside of it's coming eventually. So, good on Larian Studios, we'll have another great CRPG title. Definitely probably one of the better ones released ever. Coming up with BG3, if the early access is any indication of its quality, definitely a time sink as well. And if you're Ubisoft, when it rains, well, we'll kind of drizzle off later eventually. Ubisoft has also canceled the early sequel to their prior new IP, Immortals Fenyx Rising. The sequel was in early stages of planning, and Ubisoft has struck a blow to its Achilles tendon, turns out. Insider sources have stated that the game has been canceled going forward. This Breath of the Wild influenced mythological game wasn't amazing by typical standards, but it was definitely a solid game, and if there was a sequel on the way, I'd definitely jump back into it. I myself am a huge mythology fan, especially the Christian and Romans, so it's kind of disappointing. Ubisoft then confirmed the reports that it was cancelled and also provided a brief statement. We are reallocating some creative teams and resources within the Quebec studio to other unannounced projects. Their tech and expertise will serve as an accelerator for the development of these key projects focused on our biggest brands. What that means is we are just getting more support for the 500 Assassin's Creeds currently in production. We're getting some more, The Division on the way. Probably the Division 3 is being worked on because we do have the 2 other spin-offs. We have Heartlands and then the mobile recreation of Division 1. Probably some Rainbow Six Siege support, new Far Cry, some new Tom Clancy games, probably a Ghost Recon in there. So it's kind of sad to see that they're already scrapping their new IP. Like I said, it wasn't amazing by any standards, but it was a good time. It was probably the best Breath of the Wild alike that I had played, and that's probably due to its setting. So yeah, unfortunate news if you're a fan of that once Immortals Fenyx Rising series. Riot Games has stated that Project L, while it still doesn't have a proper title yet, it will be at EVO 2023. For those not in the know, EVO 2023 is the premier fighting game tournament left anymore. And for those of you who also probably don't know what EVO 2023 is, you probably don't know what Project L is, but that's their upcoming League of Legends-based fighting game. Riot has showed off new gameplay footage of their anticipated fighter, Project L. They then confirmed that they still do not have a name for it. But they also confirmed that it would be at EVO 2023 in Las Vegas later this year, as well as being playable by those on the show floor. The trailer showcased primarily the game's 2v2 game mode, as well as some of the mechanics that come with that. Duo play works a bit like a tag team wrestler. Game director Sean Rivera explained, one player controls the champ on stage and the other waits off-screen for their teammate to find the right moment to tag them in. Along with this, they also confirmed there are some other game modes coming, such as 1v1 and even 2v1. Also revealed a Project L's fuse system in the game, which they're kind of like power-ups that will impact how your fighters play together. For example, in the gameplay trailer they showcased, the 2x assist fuse is demonstrated. This enables players to perform 2 assists back-to-back instead of just 1, allowing you to swap in and swap out to get a combo going, or if you just need kind of a break for your character for some reason. Some great news for the fans looking forward to the upcoming classic RPG-inspired Sea of Stars. And it's taking the spot of a first to happen as well. Sea of Stars is the upcoming RPG from Sabotage Studios, which is the prequel to the side-scrolling Metroidvania action game The Messenger. However, while it was recently announced that it was coming to Games Pass, it has now just announced that it's also coming to PlayStation Plus. This will be the first title that releases on both Xbox Games Pass and PlayStation Plus simultaneously at launch, so good on them for getting that worked out. It had been reported previously that any game coming to Xbox's Games Pass was not allowed to be on PlayStation subscription service, and this seems to have subverted that statement, so who knows if this is the first one that has happened, or if that statement was even true to begin with. So outside of that, the game is also having a demo released on PlayStation 4 and 5 as well. And once again, the game in full is launching on August 29th for now PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Series X and S, as well as the PC via Steam and the Nintendo Switch. And in some not-so-great news for the PlayStation platforms and their push towards the PC platform, the PC port for Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart seems to be having issues with the AMD chipset. Users utilizing an AMD chipset GPU cards are running into some serious errors. Whenever they have ray tracing enabled in the game when utilizing an AMD card, the game will crash. This is affecting all AMD cards that do have ray tracing support apparently. Application crash or driver timeout may be observed while playing Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart with ray tracing and dynamic resolution scaling enabled on some AMD graphics products, such as the Radeon RX 7900 XTX. So, while this isn't the only game also having issues from the latest drivers that AMD has pushed out for their card. Other issues include RuneScape, as well as a few other games with various different crashes. AMD has stated that they're working with the developers of Ratchet and Clank and to see if they can get any fixes out of the way to get the ray tracing working for the game. So in the meantime, if you're looking to play Ratchet and Clank or Rift in Time using AMD chipsets, well, better keep that ray tracing and DRS off.
Blue seas, clear skies, and boundless possibilities. I dare say our destination will soon be in sight.
Enjoying yourself for a change?
Finally, as you just saw, some pretty big news coming out of Final Fantasy XIV's FanFest 2023, the first time it's been held outside of Japan with a large live audience, actually, in a few years thanks to the COVID pandemic. Dawntrail will be the game's 5th major expansion, if you're not counting the move to A Realm Reborn after ill-fated 1.0 launch, and that'll be coming in the summer of 2024. It is departing from the seriousness of Endwalker and was described as the best summer vacation a hero can have, from Yoshi P himself. The expansion will take players to the New World, far west across the ocean, specifically the land of Tural and the new hub city, Tulialal. Major points of interest from patch 7.0 are as follows. We will have a level cap increase from 90 to 100, including new skills for all jobs, multiple new jobs. While Yoshida did not say what these were, he did confirm they would be both DPS roles, one melee and one ranged magical DPS. If you take a look at the trailer, the Warrior of Light, the same guy who's in the trailer throughout the entire game, is wielding a sword in one hand and that's it. I'm assuming this is going to be like a swashbuckler or duelist, which makes sense. You're sailing to a new world, you're on a pirate ship, why not? I'm sure we'll get more information as it comes out. We'll also have new dungeons, new enemies, a duty support update, new gear and recipes, new lifestyle content, new variant dungeons, new raids, including a new alliance raid that will be, quote, even more Final Fantasy-ish, PvP update, and the new ally tribe, Pelu Pelu. There will also be a major graphical update on the way, seeing vast improvements to NPCs, vegetation on open areas utilizing procedural generation of vegetation if the system can handle it, as well as textures on buildings and other objects. The dye system players can use on their gear will be updated to include having 2 dyes available per piece of gear with some limitations in place, as well as the ability to wear eyeglasses alongside various headgear options. Players who own housing in the game will have their furnishing count doubled. Also announced coming with the next major update, 6.5, is that the free trial is going to be expanded to include all expansions up to the beginning of Shadowbringers. The biggest news, however, had Phil Spencer of Microsoft's Xbox join Yoshi P on stage to announce that Final Fantasy XIV will finally be launching on Xbox fully with Dawntrail. This will also include crossplay, of course, between all the systems and cross-account features. Only thing you'll have to do is, if you want to play on multiple systems, you'll just have to purchase a copy of the game on multiple systems, otherwise the account transfers over. A beta period will also be available on Xbox as well with the launch of 6.5. So now, that famous Final Fantasy XIV copy pasta meme can grow to include new expansions and new platforms. So with that, that'll cover everything I've had since Tuesday. So, thanks for tuning in. If you found the news helpful or interesting, or you hate my face as much as I do, please go ahead and give my channel a subscribe by clicking on that button, like the video, whatever, comment, I don't care, do stuff. It's fun, and I will see you guys next Tuesday with a new update with anything that happens today or over the weekend. Thanks for tuning in.